Hey, what's up, Coin Fam? In today's video, we'll be talking about some rare and valuable pennies from the 1970s. You may be able to find some of these errors or varieties in pocket change, but it's not going to be easy. The more you know, the better your chances. So let's get right into it so it all makes sense. Here's our first penny. This is a 1970 San Francisco minted Lincoln cent. This penny is called a double die. A double die happens when the die or hub rotates in between strikes when the die is being created. There were a lot of different dies that were doubled in the 1970s. This one is a Class 7. A Class 7 double die is when the hub is modified between the die's hubbings. Because of the nature of this class of double dies, it's hard to verify unless you get some kind of confirmation from the mint that the working hub was modified. It's hard to see the doubling with the pictures that have been provided by Heritage Auctions. This double die penny sold at auction for $9. The doubling on this next penny is more obvious than the one we just saw. This 1972 Lincoln cent was graded Mint State 60 and sold for $15 at auction. Here's why. This is a FS 103 obverse double die. The doubling can be seen on some of the letters of this blurry picture right here. Here are some better pictures from doubledie.com. You can clearly see the doubling on every letter of the motto, "In God We Trust." There's also some obvious doubling on some of the letters in the word Liberty. 1971 had its share of double dies as well, and proof coins weren't immune to this die variety. This is a 1971 San Francisco minted Lincoln cent. It graded proof 64 red on a scale from 1 to 70. The doubling is most obvious on this penny on some of the letters in the word Liberty. You can see clear lines in the L, the I, and the B. Here are some images that are more clear. You can see doubling on all of the letters of Liberty. You might see more subtle doubling on the N in the word in, and on the G and the O in the word God. This penny sold at auction for $111. Here's our last double die for this decade that we're looking at in this video. We've already seen one from this year, but the doubling wasn't nearly as obvious. Take a look at the doubling on this 1972 Lincoln cent. This rivals the 1969S and the 1955 double dies. You don't need any magnification for this one. Check out the doubling on the motto and the word Liberty. You can even see doubling on all of the numbers and the date. Did you notice anything odd about this penny? There's some discoloration in the shoulder and neck area of Lincoln and what appears to be some rubbing or brush marks near the rim of the penny. This is because this coin was cleaned. If you have a coin that may be valuable, you never want to clean it. It'll likely leave marks, chemical staining, or odd wear patterns and will drastically reduce the value of your coin. Because of the cleaning, this coin didn't receive a grade, but it was noted that the details were uncirculated. This penny sold at auction for $293. Here's a crazy error you won't see too often, and this 1970 penny graded Mint State 64 red. This penny was struck 5 different times, and 4 of the strikes were off-center from 20% up to 35%. Off-center strikes are relatively common, especially with older coins. Strikes that are slightly off-center won't add anything to the value of your penny. The more severe the off-center strike, the more value your coin has. This penny sold at auction for over $900. Can a cud be beautiful? I think they can be. If loving a cud was against the law, I'd be in jail for life. This pretty penny was created because the die that created it had a large part of it broken off. A die break that affects the rim of the coin is called a cud. I found cuds while coin roll hunting, but never one this big. The opposite side of a die break will usually result in a weak strike, and you can see that weak strike on the reverse of this penny right here. This cud error coin was graded Mint State 65 red brown, and it sold at auction for over $1,000. A cap die occurs when a coin gets stuck to a die. Then a new coin enters the chamber and is struck by the coin still attached to the die. This results in the attached coin being stretched over the die like a bottle cap. This isn't a traditional cap die. You can see that a lot of the detail is missing on this penny. There's also a round imprint over the top of Lincoln's head where the outer layer of the penny is pressed upward and is curling. Despite the mess on the obverse of this penny, the reverse is in pretty good shape. This error coin sold at auction for $1,200. Here's another extreme off-center strike. The off-center strike on this penny is so off-center, it almost missed the coin completely. The fact that you can clearly see the date on this coin definitely adds to the value. The little bit of detail you can see on this penny was still enough to get a Mint State 64 grade. The RB under the grade is the color designation red-brown. This penny sold at auction for almost $1,700. This penny right here sold at auction for over $2,500. Here's why. When you look at this penny, there's obviously something wrong. First, it's not the right color. It looks more like a dime. If you were to hold this penny, it would be thinner and lighter than a normal penny. It's missing a lot of detail, and you can see some remnants of a dime design. Did a dime somehow get into the hopper and get loaded into the chamber during a penny run? Or was there some sort of mint mischief going on in Philadelphia that day? My money's on the mint mischief in Philadelphia. This 1977 penny was obviously struck on a dime, and there are 2,530 reasons why this happened. That's how much this Mint State 66 double denomination mint error sold for at auction. So in 1977, at the Philadelphia Mint, we had some mischief involved in the penny dime we just talked about. Well, guess what? This 1977 Philadelphia minted Lincoln cent was struck through a washer. You can tell there's something wrong when you look at this penny from the front. At first glance, it looks similar to an off-center strike. Flip this bad boy over, and you can see that the washer it was struck through is now and forever will be retained. So how much is a 16-cent washer pressed into a 1-cent coin worth? If you said 17 cents, you're way off. This error coin was graded Mint State 65 red-brown and sold at auction for $6,600. You've heard of the 1943 steel penny, right? How about a 1971 steel penny? Not quite. This 1971 penny was minted on an aluminum planchet. This penny weighs in at 0.75 grams and was graded AU58. How does this happen? I'll give you a hint. The mint doesn't always just strike coins for the great US of A. At the time, the mint was striking cores for Nepal and the Philippines. It's likely this penny was struck on a planchet intended for a foreign coin. This aluminum penny sold at auction for over $8,000. Here's a 1974 San Francisco minted penny. At first glance, we see a sizable cud, but we've seen bigger cuds, right? We have, but this one's a little bit different. Let's take a look at the reverse of this coin. Ignore the obvious for a second, and let's take a look at the area near the rim at about 8 o'clock. Whenever you have a large cud, you'll likely see a weak strike on the opposite side of the coin where the cud is located. Here's that weak strike right here. Now let's talk about this oval shape struck through above the Lincoln Memorial. Any ideas what this is? This is the piece of the die that broke off and caused the cut error. The die break was actually struck into the penny. That's pretty rare. Rare enough to cause someone to spend $9,000 to put it into their collection. Want to learn more about rare and valuable coins? Click on that video to the left. Thanks for watching.